Bonjour.
Okay. Hello. Glory to Mother Russia. No, not getting canceled.
Are we doing Mother Russia today?
No, we are not doing Mother Russia today because we don't want cancel.
Ah,
in my campaign.
Suka.
Why cancel you?
I don't know, pretending to be Russian or communist. I don't know. Wait, is Russia still a communist country? I honestly forgot.
I think it is.
Technically, it's a dictatorship now.
Okay, so with that all now going to be censored for on the YouTube video. Welcome back to the welcome back to the Swinging Swordsman. We're starting a little bit later because we all ended up talking with each other about a variety of stuff, but
Hippies and rednecks, oh my.
Hippies and rednecks, oh my. I'm your humble dungeon master, Dan. I am a theater freak and a TTRPG geek, and this is episode 34 of Fury of the Outlands, apparently. Holy shit. Before we get started, let's do hopefully a speed run of our usual shoutouts. Probably not going to end up being a speed run, knowing me, but if you want to know what our lives are like outside of the campaign, but not necessarily outside of D&D, go over to Spotify and listen to the podcast Guys. We still don't have Dusk in it yet. I don't know. He just doesn't want to show up. I don't know why.
Who said that? Y'all never freaking told me.
Yeah, no, I'm just messing around. It is a little outdated. It is a little outdated still. Every week we say this. Carly keeps saying we're going to be doing another one. Whether or not that actually, we'll see when that happens or not. If you want to listen to music, Waida has a couple of songs out on a variety of music channels, whether it's Spotify, YouTube Music, Apple Music. Don't use Spotify if you're cheap, like me, because I'm a cheap bastard. We'll just throw fucking links down there because my brain doesn't want to try and spell shit.
Wyra _ Ayelen. WAYRA _ AYELEN. There you go.
Okay. If you want to see some cool art shit, Angel does art on like YouTube, various other socials. Over at Tenchi Art, he's that whole thing there. Now this is the part where I would do a ad for Final Fantasy XIV as a joke, but I think all of us are getting bored of that, so I'll wait for next week. That being said, it is still better than WoW. Suck it. Okay.
Wow.
Hey, I stand by that. I stand by that statement. I don't care if I get canceled for it. I probably will, but not today.
Wait, repeat it?
There's got to be viewers to cancel you.
That's fair. That's fair, but discrimination
And also
can go
very mean.
so far. Have you met the internet? It's the reason we actually got good animation for Lilo and Stitch. And for the Sonic movies. If it wasn't for the internet, Sonic would be so much worse, and Stitch would look like a heffalump.
Yeah, I saw the Sonic movie, but I will. The animation does look pretty good.
Yeah, no, honestly, and plus, for the Sonic movies, it's just cool to see Jim Carrey actually acting in a role that he likes. Okay, we're done with that. So, on to the recap. Last we left off, our party was still trapped in this goddamn maze. That's the long and short of it. No, okay, so our party has been traversing along a for lack of better words, a dungeon known as the Maze of Embers, which supposedly is a maze that interlinks the elemental plane of fire with the material plane, originally intended to be used as a place of ritualistic trials for those that are dedicated to the primordial goddess of fire, Rhea. And then everything just basically went tits up. Our players have been traversing through the maze in order to find answers to the Volkanov family curse, a phenomenon that had been causing the patriarchy within Yuri's family to just decide to up and leave. And now it was Yuri's turn. While traversing through the Maze of Embers, it was discovered that Yuri's family actually had strong ties to those religious to the goddess Rhea, as well as being of minor nobility within the old Atherin Empire, a nation that once existed where the Outlands is now, but doesn't anymore because the common folk wanted to say, screw the nobility, let's tear it all down. While traversing through the maze, the party also met a member of Yuri's family from 300 years ago, a Genasi samurai by the name of Malachi Volkanov, who for some reason has an Irish accent instead of the Genasi Russian. The party also gathered went through a variety of different trials within the maze, some of which they passed, one of which Yuri at the very least failed. Half of the party ended up having to fight a withered-ass paladin lich who basically called everyone heretics. And later on down the line, Icarus, who is the Azamar, who is not here at the moment. Sorry, no gay Australian today. Icarus spontaneously found Yuri's dad, Dmitry Volkanov. After a little bit of rest and conversation, it was discovered that this whole thing had not been by the design of Rhea, but by the design of her son, Ignis Vol, who was seen as the first fire elemental to come after Rhea, and was also, at this point, part god, because children. For some reason, Ignis Vol decided to take over the maze and cause a bunch of fuckery that not only resulted in nothing actually going according to plan, but also resulted in the creation of a hybrid elemental undead within the maze known as the Ash Husks. The fact that they were undead made our cleric... Oh yeah, we also have a cleric.
Hi.
The fact that they were undead made things easy for the cleric, as he could just basically give them all the holy fist finger. Oh god, that sounds bad.
Just
basically tell them all to fuck off and Thanos as many of them as possible with Destroy Undead, because apparently that fucking exists at this level. The party then eventually met Ignis Vol, who, unlike most villains in history, actually wanted to meet the party because they were actually slightly interesting to him. Ignis Vol, first off, announced himself as being the arisen deity of ash, rebirth, and destruction, and then also said that part of this whole thing is mainly to claim the elemental plane of fire for himself, as the prime and primordial deities are basically now seen as weak and a good bit of the arisen deities and possibly some other demi-deities might want to try and declare war on the rest of the gods. Ignis Vold being one of them. Words were said, insults were exchanged, and Ignis Vold decided to kidnap Dimitri. Leaving, and in that last moment, Ignis Vold said to Yuri that he had, that him and the party had one last challenge ahead of them, and only stated that this challenge would be a choice. He would not say what that choice is, or how it would affect everything in here, but he said that he'll be waiting at the end of the line, and then decide to vanish. After a quick bit of rest, Yuri was briefly somewhat visited by a spectral apparition of the goddess Rhea, who said that she was basically trapped by her son, not only within the maze, but for some reason also trapped in the body of the human girl that once was assumed to be her in the first place and then may or may not have insulted her. The story on that is very convoluted, as it was told by someone who's got mommy issues. Yuri apologized to Rhea as their previous conversations weren't always the best, as for time up until that point, Yuri has always seen this as Rhea's fault and not necessarily anyone else's, as no other information was given to him. Though at this point, then, the blame could either go onto Ignis Vold or the Volkanov that started this whole thing. It doesn't matter because it's not Rhea's fault, and Yuri felt bad about that. And with that, our party now continues through the maze in a hopeful attempt to reach the end in order to save Dmitry Volkanov and maybe a goddess and or one other person. We're not entirely sure. And that is basically where we are now. So, Angel, I cannot hear.
Infiltration time.
So, as of right now, you all are arising from a long rest, which honestly none of you really needed, but we're gonna go with it anyway.
Okay.
I actually don't need to change the music. How about that? You all are packing up your stuff to get ready. And as you do, Yuri, you see, as you're looking over everyone, Malachi is the first to kind of be done packing up and getting ready, but you see he kind of makes his way over to first off and goes, "Hey, you doing all right?"
I'm not sure right now, but I know that I'll be okay once the problem is solved and once all this is over.
That's fair, I suppose. For one, I don't know if this means anything or not, but sorry you had to kind of see your power just kind of be up and snatched like that. But
Thank you. But we're gonna get him back.
we are. Oh, I'll say I am kind of concerned about what that fucker was saying when he said that next challenge would be a choice.
about it at length too. I don't know. Like, all I know is maybe it's naive of me to think this, but I'm gonna find a way to get my dad back, and for me to get back home to my kids too.
Hey. Well, whatever the fuck happens, at the very least, I'll do my best to make sure that all of you be able to get out of here. Your father included.
I appreciate that, and I will say also, Malachi, you're all right. I kind of was. You can imagine this place doesn't exactly create an environment for trusting strangers, but you're all right.
Well, I mean, to be fair, we're not entirely strangers. I'm your... some certain amount of great-grandfather, I suppose.
That's fair. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's kind of creepy considering that you look older than me. I mean, you're like...
Oh,
You know what? We're not even gonna... Yeah, we're not even gonna go that far. You know, it's even weirder because you almost look a little bit older than Dimitri, too, and he's your father.
Yuri has zero idea how to respond to that.
Anyway... Off onto the road ahead, aye?
Not something like the present.
Right. With that, you guys all sort of finish your packing and continue to make your way along the maze. Is there... I'm going to go down a line here for this, but... starting with Carlo, is there anything y'all are going to be wanting to... Or is there anything that you're going to be wanting to do, like, as you're kind of continuing and walking along the maze and whatnot? Or is there anyone you want to strike conversation with?
No, Yuri's good. He'll be, if he can, he'll be journaling, and just be like, writing about how he just got his dad back and got taken away again. But that's it.
Wait. Alright. Alright, yeah. Frost,
You're ironically enough the next in line. As you take a bite, I'm sorry. As
y'all are sort of walking around, is there anything that Frost would like to do, or like any conversations he would like to have as you all are sort of walking along in this home stretch?
At this point, there's really nothing that can be said or done about improving our situation other than what we're doing. We know that we're close to the end. We don't know how or what this next challenge will be other than the choice. And I also know, if I remember correctly, that Frost doesn't have to make this choice because of something that the guy said. Whatever his fucking name was.
First off, name being Ignis Vol. I'll actually put that in the chat for actual spelling.
Yeah, Ignis, something along the lines of, he said, I wish you had to make the choice too. But because, I think it was because of my association with my own divinity, that I either can't or don't need to. Whatever it may be. So, like, at this point, he's just ready for... He's just making sure he's keeping an eye out, ready for any encounter, anything that stands out in this dust-laden maze, this ashy maze. And at this point, his mace
Man.
is never not in his hand.
Yeah. So I will say, without having to roll to remember anything or whatnot, you remember Ignis Vol saying that, for one, he did wish that he could, for lack of better words, like manipulate and move you around a little bit, but because of the fact that you were tied to a divine faith, did interfere with that possibility. So, at the very least, it does give you the excuse me. It does give you the idea that even though this guy was able to take control of the maze from his mother, and seems to be, at the very least, decently powerful, he's not powerful enough to turn one's faith by force. So at the very least, that does put you in the clear at that situation, as you are a cleric of Helm.
Not to mention, he didn't get that information from me as to who my faith is devoted to. Perhaps if I had given him that info, he might have been, depending on his reaction, more or less excited about it.
Right, because it seems like the arisen deities, or at the very least, a good chunk of them, are wanting to go to war with the Prime and Primordial, and you aren't entirely sure if one of those is Helm.
Yes.
Personally, you hope he isn't, but I mean, there isn't really much to kind of be said until you actually get clarification. But in the meantime, you definitely feel that it was wiser to keep your faith or keep your specific faith a secret, and at the very least thankful that it has kind of given you some form of safety or sanctuary in this particular instance.
Frost just pulls out a Nokia, types in a divine sounding number, and then it's like, "Hey, yo, Helm. Yeah, I got a question for you. Were you thinking of fighting the primordial gods?"
Honestly, that's
kind of wrong number. Sorry. Beep.
Yeah, honestly, kind of going out of I was going to say out of character here, but I'm the DM. Going out of campaign here, it does seem kind of interesting that a lot of like cleric and god interactions are ambiguous at best. Like, I get the reason for it, but to be fair, it feels like it.
Mysterious ways.
Yeah, I feel like it is every. I feel like it's every other. A lot of people go for the ambiguous and mysterious and cryptic way.
Maybe the next time I do a religious figure like a paladin or cleric, I'll make it like, oh yeah, I know exactly what he wants.
Yeah, or you could just be a celestial warlock.
Or I could be a crazy person who thinks he's the god he's talking about, but still gets his power from said god. So he's like, why would I want to go to war with the primordial gods? That's foolish. Or,
So basically,
hell yes, I want to.
Yeah. Anyway,
Right.
so yeah, going out from that, next up in my queue for right now is Arakion.
All right. Well, Arakion, honestly, I feel mostly the same as what Dustin
Everyone
said.
else?
Like, yeah, because like there's not much really to be said. We know the mission. We're already making plans and such. So yeah, it's just mostly concentration.
All right, and then there's nothing you really want to do as you're kind of walking along.
Yeah, no. Maybe I strike up the occasional conversation with Big B. But other than that, no.
Yeah, same here.
All right. No, actually, that ends up being a 2-for-1 here. So, last up is Crystalina, who is multitasking. So, honestly, I feel like I feel like I
Can
kind of
you
know the
hear
answer.
me?
I can hear you now.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
Yeah, or not. Hello?
Miss Lena.
Wire, please.
Well, this one's broken. We need to get a new one.
hello, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay.
Oh my god, finally. Okay. What?
Is there anything you kind of want to do as you're kind of walking along this last part of the maze, or like anyone you want to like strike a quick convo with or anything, or are you good?
I'm just kind of exhausted from everything, to be honest. I'm sure that I keep like staring at people, but like with like not purposefully, like with a far off look in my eye or something. Like I'm zoned out, basically.
Fair.
And I'm sure I accidentally stare at Angel's character a few times, and I don't know how he reacts to that. I'm just kind of like,
Probably doesn't even notice it. He's I'm afraid.
thank God, thank God. I
Staring at him.
definitely do that to Mr. Longname. What was
Wait,
that,
cast
bro?
Brazilian?
Yeah, I forget what it even is. I'm sure I could say it if I heard it
Mr.
a few
Long
times.
Name.
I'm going to cast Brazilian.
All right. Yeah, and then Bigby, you pretty much gave your answer when I was asking to Raytheon, right? Yeah. All right. So, yeah,
Finish the
you.
quiz.
Yay.
Sorry.
So yeah, you all continue your walk and your trek along the maze itself. Bizarrely, it feels like it's like for some reason this stretch feels like it's been a lot easier compared to the last few rounds. Like for one, you do see ash husks still kind of wandering around, but once again they are paying close to no attention to you. Like purely out of reflex, if one gets a little close, either Yuri whacks it or Frost lets out a channel divinity fuck off. But it's been fairly a peaceful travel in this situation. Not only that, for a lot of it, it feels like it's more of a straight shot, which you find bizarre. Like throughout the maze, you've had a lot of like twists and turns and whatnot, and like points where you come up to a crossroads. This time around feels different. There aren't as many turn points or crossroads that you come across, and you go for what feels like hours or a couple of days of just traveling along a straight corridor of the maze before you come up to another turn spot, and then it continues to be a straight shot for like maybe another few days or so, and it just kind of keeps going to where it's bizarre, it's suspicious, but thank God it gives you guys a fucking break. After what feels like a good while of walking, I'm going to change the music.
Oh shit.
Nothing bad, just changing the tone. After what feels like a good while, like a good maybe few days or so, it's hard to keep track of time 100%. You all come into what feels like a open clearing within the maze. Not a door, not a threshold, not another covered area of fucking smoke and mist, but what feels to be sort of an actual open clearing. You look to the sides around you, and it feels like that for some reason this part feels like it is maybe the end of the maze. Like you can see like a good while, like you see a good stretch out of basically volcanic ashen plains, magma and flame just kind of bursting around in various different spots and whatnot. And it looks like there might be another wall of the maze, like several a long ways out from where, like miles out from where you currently are at this point. But in this place you are right now, the first thing you all notice is that the floor itself goes from sort of the rough stone to what feels to be polished and tiled flooring of somewhere. You look around, and the specific area in which you are right now looks not entirely like something that would be in a plane of fire. It's not a room, but it feels more like a courtyard. The surface of the floor itself is tiled in a variety of volcanic rock and stone, but it feels, for the most part, like polished and smoothed out and not as bumpy along your feet, which at this point feel fucking sore from all the rough walking. There are pillars that kind of jut, that are structured from various spots in the ground, some a little farther off, that create what look to be some sort of stone-like canopy not that far off in the distance. And you see that there are braziers sort of set out along various areas to kind of illuminate your surrounding, which honestly is fucking useless, but I guess it's more for aesthetic. There are no walls. You're not in a room. You're just in a open area of what you're assuming to be the plane of fire. Which, on top of everything, is fucking hot.
Is it any hotter than it has been?
A little bit, but at this point, y'all have been in here long enough to where you can sort of barely notice. Like, for those who aren't fire resistant, it does still suck, but you've been in here long enough to where it sucks less.
Well, call that a win, at least.
Yeah. Ahead of the courtyard, you see that once again there is what looks to be, actually in this case, a few figures sort of set out in front of you. Two of which are ash husks, side by side, a variety of them sort of side by side and sort of in a half circle around this other person, who you all have seen before.
Oh, no.
What feels like a while ago, but in terms of mechanics was just last week. The same sort of ashen aura, the same facial structures. I don't remember exactly how I described this bastard, but you see Ignis Vol sitting in, not a throne this time, but at the very least it is a luxurious chair. As if he looks like he's on vacation. The couple of the ash husks around him are holding what looks to be some type of large frondish-like fans that are just kind of waving in side by side of him. But they're not fronds, which is really weird because it's way too hot for any form of greenery. But you see, he looks at all of you, starts to stand up, pushing two of his servants, for lack of better words, aside, arms open out, and he goes, friends, challengers, welcome to the end of the line. At the very least, the original end of the line. There is still much more to this maze, but for you all, at the very least, this is the end of what was to be the original trials within the Maze of Embers. First off, I know you all probably hate me a little bit. That goes without saying, but at least allow me to offer my congratulations for most of you making it this far, especially those who are not normally acclimated to such heats and extremities.
Well, get your monologue out of the way so I can get on to try to kill you.
I keep forgetting that I've been told that you're a shoot first and ask questions later kind of person. Which, to be fair, I'm not.
Your monologue. I don't
Right, well,
give people a warning either.
You're not a very cuddly person, are you?
I don't even know what that means.
He's coming on to you.
Yeah, sure. You know it. I'm cutlery, whatever it was.
I'm
Anyway. The final test. Thankfully for most of you, is not one that is set for you. Mainly because, in this particular case, the certain aspects of this test don't necessarily apply to you 100%, but if you wish to aid your fellows, I'm not going to stop you. But, as I said before, for you, you see Ignis Vol points to you, Yuri, then just kind of casually points over to Malachi, who's kind of like right next to you, and is like, you know what, I guess this is also for you too, at the very least. You're both Genasi and I think family members, so this will be for the most part for the two of you. As I said, the rest of you, if you wish to help them, I'm not going to stop you, but
You won't stop us.
fair enough. The two of you have a choice. Now, this choice isn't entirely going to be a choice of what you get to fight. No. I saw how you fought with the Paladin Lich. A very interesting one, at the very least. But this is a choice of something a little different. You see, he snaps his fingers, and two pillars of ash sort of spiral out at his sides. They're not necessarily like directly at his sides, but kind of a little bit in front of him, side by side. In those pillars, you see at first two silhouettes, and then the pillars drop, and you see two figures. One of which is Dmitry Volkanov. The other...
What's his condition?
Oh no.
Give me a perception check.
All right then. Button. Do me well. Do me well. All right, that's a dirty 21.
God damn. From what you could see, he looks fine. There doesn't seem to be any cuts or wounds or blemishes that look like they weren't there before. The only sort of differences that you can see with Dmitry compared to how he was before is, for one, his arms and legs are bound within what look to be almost manacles of ash of some sort, which is very weird. You wouldn't expect ash to be a sort of manacle, but for some reason these things are holding on very well. The only other... Huh?
What would that look like?
That is a very good question. I'll let you draw that.
Well, no, it's more like I'm like, if is it like the regular ash in its normal dusty form, or is it like packed together where it's like hardened?
It is packed together. It looks like it is packed together for the most part. A conglomerate of it seems to be as if it is focused primarily on the hands and the feet, sort of almost covering them, and then from there it looks like chains of like packed ash make their way from the spots within the hands themselves, at least, to the floor.
Okay.
The second figure, at the very least, at the very most bizarrely least, two of you would recognize, for different reasons. It is a human woman, late 20s, early 30s, with red hair. And what looks to be definitely thrashing around and moving violently among the shackles. Yuri, you recognize her because of the sort of spectral apparition situation from before. But the only other person who recognizes this figure is Crystalina.
Why did I fucking know that? Who is this bitch? Why does Crystalina know her?
Albeit, Crystalina, it's like when you look at this figure, she looks a little bit older than when you last saw her. But sure as shit, you're fairly certain. Yeah, it's fucking Dawn. It's Dawn.
Fuck, bro.
Oh my god.
It's Dawn Tenjiro.
Oh my god.
I think
Okay,
I'm
so
missing
wait.
some context.
Recap, because I'm kind of tired and I just finished my quiz.
Valid.
Basically, we're still in the dungeon and she's thrashing around in handcuffs.
Pretty much.
Chained to a wall.
More like chained to the floor.
Chained to the floor. Okay. So I recognize her, I'm assuming. Like immediately.
Yes. It takes
and
you a
we're
bit. It takes you a bit because she looks a little bit older than when you last saw her, but after a quick bit, you're like, oh shit, it's Dawn.
So knowing myself, more than her looking older, it's like the fact that she probably doesn't look very pretty, considering she's thrashing around and chained to the ground. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, who's this tweaker?
The only other thing y'all can tell from this woman is, for one, as she's thrashing around, she's occasionally exuding fire from her body. And for some reason, also her eyes tend to flash with flame as well, which throws all of you off, save for maybe Yuri.
Well, I'm Crystalina, because I've fucking seen it before.
Crystalina, for the most part, yeah, but there is something about this particular instance that seems a little bit different. You're not entirely sure how to place it, but it's it's for one, you're just thinking, ah, shit, does this family ever catch a fucking break?
Okay, so first instincts are me literally running up to her and being like, "Wait, Dawn? Is that you? What the hell? Why are you chained to the ground on a dungeon?
You see,
What the hell happened to you?"
She stops thrashing, just looks, blinks for a sec, the flames in her eyes go out, and is like, Crystalina, what the fuck?
Yeah, hi. It's not a surprise. I'm literally always mixed up in shit. Why are you here?
It's complicated, to say the
Okay,
least.
I've got time. I've got time, girl. Spill.
Well, long story short, a bunch of people got pissed off thinking I was a goddess, even though I tried to tell them I wasn't. Like, I still don't understand why the fuck that happened.
I
Next,
mean,
it was because I punched. It was probably because I punched things with fire. Anyway, and this was even after. This was also after my stint of being. Thank you. Also, this was after my stint with being a sky pirate captain. That was fun while it lasted. Anyway, moving on.
I didn't hear that.
Yeah, that's something they don't.
Up on.
No shit, girl. Anyway, Anyway, after that supposedly got cleared up, I decided to take one of my nephews. Oh shit, Ryu, is he around?
Oh right. You're a great aunt now, huh?
Regular aunt, as far as I know.
Oh right, never mind. Right. I'm just so confused because your fucking bloodline keeps popping out kids faster than I can grow up.
Yeah, no, time, it's bullshit. Ryu, is he okay? Where the hell is he? Is Ryukai with you, or?
No, he's not with me. I guess that's the next person we should search for. No fucking way am I leaving if he's still here.
Ah, fuck, alright. And he's, like, during this whole interaction, you see Ignis Vol just kind of watching us like, well, I'll admit, this was a little unexpected. I see the two of you know each other.
Fuck yeah, we know each other. Wait, out of character, are these the guys that chained her there?
Probably. Ignis Vol, you're assuming is the one that chained her there, as he was the one that fucking summoned her.
Okay.
From a pillar of ash.
So, what the fuck? so suddenly, as these guys talk to me, it's like I'm snapped out of a trance, and I stare at them. And I'm like, are you the motherfuckers that chained her here? Who the hell do you think you are? Release her immediately.
She just kind of looks to the rest of y'all and is like, oh, okay, I honestly have no idea. Who the hell is this?
Are you talking to me or about her?
I'm talking about you to them, because honestly...
The most insignificant character to him. That's so mean.
That is so fucking crazy.
So forgettable to him. That's terrible.
Hey,
she's about to get even more pissed.
Okay, I guess I should ask: is he directing that to ask who I am or who Dawn is?
You.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's mean.
I mean, I could say a lot of things. My name is Crystalina Starr. I've known her for years. She's probably known me for much longer than I have, to be honest, but we don't have to get into that whole complicated thing. She's not a goddess, and you have the wrong person, so please release her immediately.
You see, as you say that, she kind of inhales and is like, so there is one last thing I did forget to mention. Okay, so during that whole incident, I wasn't actually a goddess, and there was one point where somehow this fucker found me and threw me in the maze, and somehow I managed to get out and survive around here and whatnot. Met this nice Genasi guy who
Dawn, please don't tell me you turned into a goddess.
No, he threw a goddess into my body.
What the fuck?
Oh, wow.
Why do you? Why does your
That's a
family
lot
never
of
give us
jokes
a break,
waiting to
bro?
happen.
I can't turn my head for 1 fucking second. Every time we unite, something is wrong with you.
Oh my lord.
Okay, yes. To be
If it's
fair,
not
after
you,
this,
it's fucking Lucas. Now, what even is your grandson's name? Out of character.
uh,
Forget
first
Kristalina
off,
said that because she. No, what?
nephew, not grandson.
I'm so tired.
This isn't Jason. This isn't
Nephew.
Jason. Secondly,
Nephew, I know.
secondly,
Nephew, what's
it was Ryukai or Ryu for short.
you guys? How old are these people now?
I mean, last I
7,000.
checked, honestly, I have no, I don't know 100% at this point because I've been stuck here for a while.
No. Out as Wyra.
Oh,
How old is Dawn and how old is Lucas?
as of right now, Dawn looks like she's in her late 20s, maybe early 30s. Lucas, when you last remembered him, was like just around like early 20s or so.
Okay, so last time we met, we were actually the same age, and now he's a fucking dad. Anyway,
Yeah.
Okay, where the fuck was I? Why?
Anyway, so with that, Ignis Vol kind of goes. To be fair, both her and my mother just seem to be wandering around anywhere. I had to put them in one spot where I can keep track of them. I promise you, it's not permanent. But
Okay, so what do we do about this? Because you have my friend chained to the ground,
yes.
and there's a goddess in her body for some reason. So what's the deal?
Well, this
I'm not
actually
leaving her.
Yeah, this actually makes things even more interesting because instead of possibly 2 people making this decision, it's now 3. So, you 3 have a choice. For 2 of you, you and the 2 Genasi over there. You see Malachi just kind of waves us like, hello.
Okay.
So, I don't know how to describe your situation, other human girl, but for these 2, at the very least, it's now a question of either family or faith. As it's very obvious, I have not only just 1 prisoner, but I guess in this case 3, but for the sake of this, we'll just say 2 and a half. One of these is a member of the Volkanov family line. These guys' line, as a matter of fact. The other, well, apparently the human, at the very least, is your friend. But the goddess...
Are you saying they're both share? Are you saying there's 3 people sharing one body? I'm a little confused.
2 people
there's
sharing
2 people
one.
standing.
2 people in one body,
Just
and
the
then there's
goddess, just the goddess and
it-
Dawn. There isn't some
just
fucking
the-
Volkanov family member inside of.
just the goddess and Dawn are sharing bodies, and then there's just Dimitri.
Okay.
And on the other end, well, also, at the very least, the human, being your friend, the goddess is none other than the primordial deity who first started this whole trials all through the Maze of Embers to begin with. The primordial goddess of the flame, Rhea. So, the 3 of you now have a choice. Pick one, and I promise that they will be let go.
You're kidding me, bro.
What?
Pulls out the popcorn. Let me stop.
What happens to?
What's gonna happen to the other person?
Yeah.
Well, for one, I promise they're not going to die. Honestly, that would be very boring. And plus, I'm not a god of death. There's some... but... If you choose... who the fuck's pinging? If you choose to have... If you choose family over faith, and having the Genasi go... I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to be doing with the human. Wasn't the original... I wasn't thinking that far ahead, but at the very least, Rhea herself will be kept out from claiming the domain of the Plane of Fire and the Maze of Embers for herself, and I get to take over. If you all choose faith over family, not entirely what will happen at the domain part, but the Genasi will then be selected to be my personal champion of my domains. Whatever that may end up being in the future.
So, outside of character, I need a translation. What's a Genasi?
Elemental being.
They're fire people.
So when he says Genasi, he's talking about Dawn.
No, he's talking about Dimitri, Malachi, and Yuri. As a Genasi is someone who's basically born from that has a bloodline of elemental essence, fire, earth, water, air, that kind of stuff.
I heard there were combos, but I don't know how canon that is.
There can be, but we're not homebrewing that quite yet. Dimitri, Malachi, and Yuri are all fire Genasi, so they're all very hot people.
Okay. So, in Daniel words that Wyra could understand, what did you just say in character? We're choosing family, which I would assume means Dawn gets to keep her body, or faith, which means the goddess takes over. That's what I understand.
No. Well,
Okay.
in this case, the terminology of faith and family applies more to Yuri and Malachi than to you. But basically, if Dawn stays, the guy has no idea what the fuck's going to happen with her, because apparently he didn't think that far ahead. But at the very least, the goddess Rhea will then be basically cast out from the elemental plane of fire, and this asshole gets to take over as the new god of the domain. But if you guys choose Dawn over Dimitri, then this asshole gets to basically have Dimitri is basically bound to be a servant of this asshole, for lack of better words.
So either way, he gets something out of this.
And what happens to Dawn?
Well,
He doesn't know either, as he didn't think that.
he doesn't know either, as both he and honestly I didn't think that far ahead.
So here's my thing is I want what's best for Dawn, but I'm not entirely sure what's going to happen to her in either situation. In one of them, we don't know.
So in choosing to have Dawn released,
hopefully
in choosing to have Dawn released, hopefully that also releases Rhea. But that means Dimitri would be stuck serving Ignis Vol, the asshole that's in front of you. But if you choose Dimitri, at the very least, the goddess Rhea will be the one to suffer. Dawn, you're not entirely sure, and neither is he.
So these are the options he's giving.
Yes, they are.
Basically like an ultimatum, you choose
Yes.
what you would rather I do.
In this case, it is... Yes, but it's also a decision between primarily you, Yuri, and Malachi. But, I mean, the others can pitch in their ideas if they want.
It sounds like
Okay, I
if
kind of
there's a
understand now.
clash. It sounds like if there's a kind of clash of desires, it may pit us against each other, and that might be what he wants.
Yeah.
Mm.
So, Angel.
So I
So-
guess Crystalina kind of turns away from him and then turns towards the group. It's like, okay, well, I think I understand this. I guess we have to talk.
He's actually Arakian's gonna go over to Yuri. And he's gonna say, no, I know this is gonna be a big decision for you either way. What do you think?
He hesitates and then says, like, obviously, I mean, the thing that I want out of this situation is my dad back. But the girl is clearly a dear friend, and I don't want to get in the way of that. And having her.
Hey, look at me. Look at me. Screw all that. This is between. Really, forget about the person inhabiting the body for right now. This is a choice between letting him overrun the domain of fire or you having your dad. Think about the bigger picture. I support either which one you choose.
There's got to be some loophole, dude. Like, choose the best option for now and then fight like hell for the rest?
Malachi just kind of looks at us. Malachi just kind of looks at you all. It's like, yeah, you'd think that, but I mean, didn't really say any other options to give us. It was just either one bad choice or another.
Right, but that's what he wants, though. Because either way, he gets what he wants.
My thing is, like, he could be. I mean, because he's straight up said, like, he doesn't know what he's gonna do with the girl. And I'm like, that's like. Because there's an unknown either way. There's an unknown, and I'm just like. I know she's someone you care about, and my dad is also, like, he's my dad. So.
Yeah. So what about we rock, paper, scissors?
Are you fucking serious?
I mean,
I don't think we
I know
should-
it seems
I
I
don't
know
think
it
we
seems
should-
childish, but unless we're looking for a third option, which I really want to find a third option,
Okay.
then
mean,
either way one of us suffers.
Okay.
And I think
Yeah.
that's the fairest way to settle it.
Okay. The thing
Or
is,
flipping a coin, maybe that's more fair.
you want to leave my fucking dad's fate on a coin flip.
Well,
I mean, do you have a better idea, Yuri?
No, but any idea would be better than a fucking coin flip. Are you insane?
so why can't we choose one option and then fight him for the other?
You really want to fight a fucking god?
I don't know, man, but I don't want either one of those people to suffer. Sorry.
I mean,
Angel's
you're
been
not
trying to
wrong.
say something.
Now, go ahead, Angel.
Oh no! I didn't want to interrupt you guys. No. Go ahead.
Right.
Continue.
Yeah.
Just let me know whenever.
No, I agree. I agree that there needs to be a different option other than the two that we got, but I mean, none of us have any experience fighting a fucking god. I mean, from where I'm from, gods have basically
I kinda
fucked off
do,
already.
but I don't know how much that's going to help.
Wait, you fought a god before?
I've been to several different worlds, so yes. I can't really pass on my knowledge. I mean, maybe. I'm assuming they're all different.
Go for the
Malachi
coin.
just kind of looks at everyone and it's like, did she just say worlds?
Oh shit. I just kind of Crystalina just kind of laughs out loud and then turns back to the group and continues talking.
Yeah, that's something that I might want to ask about later as well, but it's not
I'm-
important right now.
It's
You know
not
what, now-
important right now, and I'm totally fine to answer any and all questions once we're out of this situation.
To be fair, now this makes a lot of sense why you fucking surprised the shit out of this guy when we walked in here. Right, so
I just. Angel, you look like you want to say something.
Actually, while everyone is talking amongst themselves, he wants to not secretly, he's not trying to hide it, but he just wants to not really say anything. He wants to go over to Ignis, and he wants to say, what if I took her place?
Oh shit! That was at the back of Crystalina's mind too, because maybe she makes a sacrifice and then has to die here. But it's not like Ollie did.
yeah.
What if
You see
I become your servant?
you see the god kind of look at you, his eye sort of raised in curiosity. He goes, interesting. And what exactly would be the terms for having you under my servitude?
Well, one, you definitely don't get domain over the fired plane. Two, he already gets his dad back. The three, this one I'm not really too worried about. I mean, Crystalina gets her friend back, or whatever that whole thing is.
You see Dawn just kind of turn over listening to all this and is like, fucking excuse me?
She doesn't matter right now. And
Bullshit, I don't matter.
He continues talking. He's like, that
Ignoring
way
the fuck out of it.
everyone wins. And you get a servant. Everyone wins.
That is not everyone winning. We would still lose you.
I completely agree with that statement.
You're a brother, like, to me.
I don't think
Yeah.
that he's letting. You didn't say you weren't necessarily hiding it, right?
No, he's just talking to them, just talking to him like a
Yeah,
shield
which
bro.
which honestly at this point, if he's not like actively hiding it, you all would kind of catch the conversation if
Yeah, I
y'all weren't
imagine
talking.
Dawn's listening, then the rest of us
Yeah,
can hear.
well, Don's kind of like right next to Ignis Vol during this whole situation. But yeah, but at the very least, yeah, you all kind of catch this. Ignis Vol just kind of leans back a little bit, kind of raising his hands up, sort of thinking, and go, an interesting idea, at the very least.
All I ask is that you give me, when we get out of the maze, give me 2 days to settle my affairs. And you get to have Grace Velger on your side.
What happens to the person that is prisoner of this guy?
You don't know.
Wow. I guess, like, sticks around in the plane for a long time, isn't able to travel with us, essentially.
You see Ignis look to you, Arakion, look to everyone else, and then kind of back and forth between the two that he currently has within Ashen Bounds, and goes, I'll admit, this is a curious proposition, at the very least coming from you. Tell me, What is it about this little group that's wanting to drive you to the point of what some might say being a noble sacrifice?
With these losers? No, I'm just messing. No, he's just. I'm doing this for the fate of the world. Knowing you, if you had domain over the fire plane, you you would rain scorn down on everyone.
Well, destruction is within my title, so.
And also, I mean, what good have I ever done?
You've protected us. You've kept us safe, and despite being quite scary a lot of the time and intimidating, we know that you care about us a lot. You've done a lot for us.
Which is why I'm doing this. And Big B, you've been in many dangerous situations because of me.
Crystallina's trying to think of a fourth option throughout her head, like absolutely insanely, and she's not coming up with anything. So she's already thinking ahead, like, okay, we do make the switch, but then how do we come back and save him later? Like, what can we do? Can I, with some of my knowledge from traveling through different worlds, somehow equip the group to actually fight a god? But then all our levels are actually different, and I don't know. Crystallina's just thinking a million miles a minute, trying to figure everything out.
No, your brain, Crystallina, your brain is going through possibility, but with how your powers are at this point, and with everyone's strength. I mean, yeah, you faced a lot of tough things before, but facing them with this particular group in this particular instance, at the strength that everyone is right now, it'll be fucking hard and brutal. And you're not entirely sure if the fight would end up in your favor.
I turn to everyone else. I think this might be our only option.
There's no way I'm leaving this place without a Rakion.
Just hold on. What if we live to fight another day? I mean, can we even do anything right now? If we decide to, I am totally on your side and I'm all for it, no matter what ends up happening.
There's nothing that could ever be done. That's not how things work. That's not how things work in the fire plane, as far as I know.
I think it's just a one and done. If Erikion chooses to become this guy's prisoner, just like
so. If Erikion chooses to become this guy's prisoner, is he just gonna live forever, or will he eventually die?
Are you asking out of character, or are you asking in character here?
Out of character, or or however I'll get my answer.
Yes.
So.
Oh my god.
In an out of character perspective, from what you have seen with how things are done, at the very least within the maze, time is bullshit here, for lack of better words. I mean, for crying out loud, Malachi existed 300 years ago, and he looks like, at the very least, 30 to 40 years younger than Yuri. So there's a good chance of a Rakion living for a long time. How long, you're not entirely sure, but he'll, at the very least, still be alive.
Honestly, I like to look at out of character. I like to look at it kind of like how Jumanji, the reboot of Jumanji is, like how when you go
the guy
in,
was trapped in Jumanji for 20 years.
You go in, you're trapped for it feels like for a long time, but when you go back out, you came out at the same time you did. So that's kind of how I've been looking at it the whole time.
That's fair. So, with that, Ignis Vol just kind of looks to you, Rakion, one last time and goes, well, I do suppose it is a bit of a loss on my end, but it is a compelling argument at the very least. Are you sure this is what you want to do?
He looks back at Big B
Holy shit.
and he says, "I'm sure."
Holy.
And with that, you see Ignis Vol reaches his hand out. As if waiting to shake yours, as if this is some bullshit pact deal.
He reaches out
Oh shit.
and
You-
he touches,
Oh,
presses his
You
hand.
you reach your hand out to shake his. But
See, this
before
is
it
fucking
but-
bullshit. If Crystalina had
but
her son up
before
front.
but before it firmly grasps into the god's hands, you feel something pulling you away. And as you do, you look and you see Malachi, who's been quiet during this whole situation, rush ahead of you, pulling you aside, and grasp the god's hands in his own.
Oh, shit.
Oh my gosh.
Double whammy!
Holy
Oh.
fuck.
With
I'm so dead.
with that, you all stand there, dumbfounded, shocked. You all were kind of concerned that Malachi was quiet for a little bit, and like he did express his opinions, but once it got to where Arakion made the proposition, you all weren't in kind of made sure that Rakion didn't go through with it, and now you're watching as Malachi is now holding arms with Ignis Vol, who even himself is slightly surprised and goes, well, I suppose mortals do have some sort of curiosity to them. And you watch as the embers within Ignis Vol's arm begin to spark, and flakes of ember and ash begin to stretch out from his body and make their way along Malachi. You watch as ash begins to surround and latch onto him. Latch onto his clothes, latch onto his skin. Marks begin to embed and glow along his body. And in a matter of what feels to be forever, but may actually be a few minutes, you see him standing there, completely changed. But deep down, you do still see that it is the Genasi that you have adventured with throughout this maze for a while. And as soon as the grasp is done, you see the shackles along Dimitri and Dawn's Rhea
Radon.
along her body begin to dissipate into piles of ash. And you see Ignis Vol go, I'll give you some time to say your goodbyes before your friends make their way across. At the very
Outside
least,
of
it's...
here, this is not the right moment to be saying this, but Dusk, I just made the connection between your name and your username.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, perfect timing.
I
Anyway,
just fucking got it. Okay.
That username was a nickname I had when I was in 6th grade. This
That was a
random kid.
nickname.
This random.
Damn.
It was only one person
I'm
ever called me
insane.
that, and it was this random kid. He's like, he calls me time of day, and then when it came time to change my Steam username, I'm like, what am I gonna make it other than Duskhuber in lowercase one word? Oh, I know,
Yeah.
time of day.
So
And
good.
it stuck. It's been my name ever since in every platform I'm on.
Okay.
so yeah, back into the moment here. You watch as after this whole thing, Ignis Full begins to turn away, vanishing in a swirl of ash, and in his stead, you all see ahead of you is a door opened, glowing, and waiting for you to cross through. But before that, you see Malachi sort of standing where Arakion was originally going to. His armor now changed to something a little more, for lack of better words, almost volcanic and ashen. His skin still a glowing orangish red and whatnot, but is paler with cracks of embers sort of etching his way along across. He looks at you all and is like, well, I'll admit this is a little awkward now.
Surprise. Are you sure this is what you want?
Well,
Yeah.
it's... To be fair, there wasn't really any other good alternative to begin with, and if Arakion here was in my stead, then you all would be trying to find your way back just to be able to get him, or at the very least, things would feel a lot worse for the lot of you. And none of us could have made the choice between Dimitri and or Don. Rhea? Don? Seriously, what the hell are we supposed to call you now? She just holds her hand. I was like, worry about that later. Hopefully, when we get out of this, it'll resolve itself. That's usually the simplest way of how it works, but Malachi just kind of turns to you, Rake, and is like, well, to be fair, out of all of us, I was probably the better candidate, but even with that aside, it's like I've said to y'all before. With being in the maze for as long as I have been, it's kind of grown on me a little bit. And I know I said that I'm not entirely religious before, but honestly, I couldn't let you sacrifice yourself like that and let your friends suffer for it. At the very least, let either one of these two, points to Don and Dimitri.
Out of character, the guy that sacrificed himself, was that the grandpa?
That was Yuri's ancestor from 300 years ago.
Ancestor, not even grandpa. Okay.
No, there's quite a lot of greats between that and grandfather.
Okay.
Anyway, To be fair, this isn't the worst that could have happened, but at the very least, everyone gets what they wanted, to be fair.
Except for you.
Ignis,
Did you not wish to see the end of this maze?
huh. At first I did, but after being stuck here and seeing descendants and various other Volkanovs make their way through here, and Dmitri at the very least getting further, I knew that there was chance that either I wouldn't get any further than I had, which, to be fair, I wouldn't have if it hadn't been for the lot of you. But the worst thing that could have happened to me at the very least would have been to turn into an ash husk like some of the rest. To be fair, compared to that, this is almost the next best thing.
One might say it is worse. At least as an ash husk, you are free to be mindless. Here, you don't have the mind to be free any longer.
Maybe. But at least I'll live knowing that I did something good for my family. At the very least for my descendants.
Kristalina has no idea what to say, so she just kind of walks up to him and holds her hand out as if to shake his.
He holds it out and takes your hand, which
I hope that he can see my gratefulness, like the gratefulness in my eyes, as opposed to my failing words.
he just kind of looks, kind of nods his head, looks over to Yuri and goes, well, it's like we said. You get to go home to your family at the very least.
Had I known, then.
Everyone always says that when the past is actually ends up being the past instead of the future. And I'll admit, this may not be the best answer that we all have been looking for, but
It's better
We
than
had to
anything
take
that could have happened.
we had to take the better of two evils to begin with, and having a prisoner or champion in comparison to having control of a domain is, well, I think that honestly speaks for itself.
Well, thank you. I don't know what else to say, man. I know. I mean, I don't pretend to know the things you've seen, but I know that you want it as much as anyone else. To never have been in this maze and to just have lived a normal life, and I know you're giving up a lot, so I just... Thanks, man.
Well, I'll take that, but before you all decide to fuck off and return back to the material plane, Yuri, at the very least there is one thing that I want you to promise me.
Yeah, of course, anything.
Now that all of this is over, for the most part, now that, with any luck, our family line will be free of this fuckery that has been created. Go live your life. Live with your family.
He hesitates and then goes, I'll try, man. This family isn't going to forget the choice you made today, though.
The fact that we finally get a member of the Volcanovs that get a chance to stay around and watch everyone grow up proper. That in itself is the one thing that shouldn't be forgotten.
Yeah. It's you who allows us to do that. So, yeah. Just thank you. Yeah. I hope you know that for generations, the men in this family are going to be looking to you as a prime example of what it means to be not only a father, but a man.
To be fair, I'd rather be seen as a man than a god. Anyway. Y'all better get going now. Go out. Go live your lives.
Oh, we lost her. Oh, she's back.
There we go.
Frost is gonna step forward and stick out his hand to shake it, and says, "You have my respect. I will pray protection."
He grasps yours in... I was gonna say a man handshake, but like that sort of Viking-esque handshake where they grab each other by the forearms.
I love that handshake.
That's a thing in Chile too. Mi compadre means I've got your back. I respect you.
Yeah, Frost says that. I'm just kidding. He does not speak Spanish.
No, he does not. But after that, you see he holds onto you like that, shakes your arm, and goes, "Much appreciated. And if these gods are ended up being at war, at the very least, I hope that yours is on... Well, I was going to say the winning side, but at the very least, I hope it's on the side that's better for the lot of us."
Helm works in unknown methods. He is a new god. We are still learning about him and what he wants. But as the god of protection, I know he strives for all to be safe. So I believe he will take the side that does so. Whether he fails or succeeds is irrelevant to him, irrelevant to his following. The only important thing that matters is that we try. For if we don't try, then there is no point in hoping, in living for protection. Our loved ones will fall, our homes will crumble, but not before we take a stand.
And even if they do crumble, homes can be rebuilt. Lives can be reborn. And at the very least, if this fucker won't be focusing on that, then I'll be damn sure to make sure that someone does.
give you strength. And then he starts to walk for the open door.
You make your way through the door across this courtyard within the plane of fire. And Frost vanishes as he steps into the threshold. Malachi looks to the rest of you and goes, "All right, now get a lot of you. Last thing we need is a fucker to change his mind. Or at the very least, the rest of you deciding that you're wanting to stay here for some bullshit reason."
As he's walking towards said threshold, he says, "I won't forget I won't forget what you've done for me here today."
I hope not, because otherwise this would have been this would have been a stupid reason for me to do it.
Well, he leaps through.
And Raytheon goes through the threshold.
Crystalina kind of stares at him. And she eventually says, "Thank you. Have a good life." Then mumbles under her breath, "I hope."
With that, you see Dawn kind of make her way over.
And leaves.
Kind of get Crystalina walks out as this happens, but you see Dawn sets her shoulder onto Malachi, or sets her arm on Malachi's shoulder and goes, "What you did here was honorable." And that's more the goddess in me talking, not necessarily the Dawn part. The Dawn part is saying, "Are you fucking stupid?" But rest assured that you won't be forgotten for what you did. You know, y'all can stop fucking saying the same thing. I know that I'll be remembered, at least by one of you. Now kindly fuck off.
He's getting tired of our shit.
Fuck off.
Dawn just kind of smiles and makes her way across the courtyard to the threshold.
And with that, Bigby will also do the same and just give a nod to Malachi. Not say anything.
Malachi just kind of nods as you walk off, Big
It's like,
B.
thank God somebody didn't fucking get all mushy.
Dimitri is the next to walk up. And like Frost, the two of them end up in that sort of forearm grasp as Dimitri says something in Primordial, which I think Yuri's the only one left here who would understand.
I don't think anyone else is left.
Yeah, everyone else is left, except for Yuri and Dimitri. And Dimitri looks to Malachi and just basically says in Primordial, "Farewell, old friend." And Malachi responds back in still that weird-ass ancient Irish dialect. "Farewell. Now kindly fuck off."
Kindly fuck off.
You see Dimitri just kind of smiles, turns to you, Yuri, and goes, "Ready to go home?"
I think I'm ready.
And Then let's go. He grasps you around your shoulders as the two of you walk out. Malachi is sort of watching at the other end of the courtyard as the two Volkanovs cross the threshold of the Maze of Embers, in which, after the two of you make your way across and vanish, the door closes and vanishes into ash. Much like everything else here. You all find yourselves outside of a cave. After everyone kind of comes through, Dimitri included, you all pretty much realize that you are right outside the cave that led to the entrance to the Maze of Embers. Which, for all of you, you're like, thank fucking God, we're pretty much in the same fucking place as before.
Frost immediately covers himself in a layer of ice.
You cover your, like, as soon as you cross, you cover yourself in ice. And for being somewhere that was just blaring hot for a long time, even though you have cold resistance, the change in temperature along with the layer of ice that you coat yourself with, you almost immediately start to feel cold as fuck.
He just takes that as a blessing. He just kind of he breathes ice into his hands, much like someone trying to warm them up.
Yeah,
but
you breathe. You can actually see ice, like the sheets of ice that you've been forming on your scales when you were in the maze, and your breath as you form ice actually manifest and take form properly. Your first thought is, "Oh, thank hell."
I wonder, just above table, I wonder what would have happened if I had attempted to use my breath weapon.
Yeah, you got a broth weapon. You're now a soup dragon.
No. A broth weapon is I carry a jar of ever-heated broth, and whenever I'm attacking somebody with it, I just take it and either open it and splash boiling broth water on them, or I throw the jar at them.
You all stand there in the desert for a good bit, looking at yourselves, looking at Dimitri, who is still the same age as when you all met him.
That sucks.
Yeah, he's still the same age. Yuri is still, at the very least, looking older than his father, which is still weird. But he is free. And not only that, as soon as you all, as you're all looking around, you all kind of look as Dawn is just kind of a little disoriented and blinking her eyes and is like, oh, fucking hell, my head is quiet now. Guys, I think the goddess is gone.
Thank God.
Yeah, just kind of pats her body down, just kind of looks at her arms and is like, yeah, no, she might be gone. What the fuck? That was weird.
What, you've never had voices in your head before? I get them all the time.
No, that's usually been either my brother or my father. Long story.
I gotta say though, Kristalina says to Dawn, that must have been a lot weirder than when I had to wear your dad around my neck in a necklace.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Okay, that brings me back to a previous question. Where are you from?
Sounds like a lot to unpack.
Dawn just kind of looks and is like, how complicated do you want that answer to be?
Who was that question directed at? Me or Dawn?
Both of you.
Okay, so there's different answers, technically. She's got her own thing going on. Me, I come from a place that, well, honestly, I feel like it's had several nicknames and variations and whatnot, but I come from a place that is referred to as Haven Arc. Here's the best way to describe it. So, you know how a marketplace is like a hub for a bunch of like shopkeepers and vendors and whatnot, right? So imagine Haven Arc is the shopping district, and every world, realm, dimension, and whatever is like each individual's shopkeeper or stall or vendor.
So the space between the universes, then.
More of a hub between universes, but you know what? That works.
And you, Kristalina, where are you from exactly, if not here?
Well, I racked my brain on how to explain this. So, I come from a world that is, well, I'd like to say normal, but I guess that's very different to you than to me.
It's very boring.
Let's just say actually it can be quite fun. We don't have, as far as we know, as far as the public knows, and as far as is shared with us, we don't have things like magic, like fire or control water. Like basically all we can do is move our bodies and hold things with our bodies.
Like I said, very boring.
Right. So that's where I'm from. And due to that, technology has improved a lot, because if we don't have magic, then we have figured out other ways to do the things that we need to do.
Also,
enough about that, though.
Also, this is the one weird thing. The only humanoid race there is apparently just humans.
What?
It's
no.
Well, right, yeah, pretty much. I do believe that other things exist out there, but I think they're very, very well hidden.
Just humans.
And they don't like us, for sure, because we haven't been the best people. As for who I am, well, right now I'm asleep. That might be a little bit weird to say, but the only reason I am able to be here in this world with you is because I'm asleep. Back at home in my world, I'm dreaming. I'm in bed. I'm completely conked out. And somehow, through that, I was able to travel here.
How do you know that you're asleep?
Well, because I wake up. Whenever I go home, I just wake up in bed. So, like, what other explanations?
She is classified, at the very least for us, is classified as a dream traveler because of that whole situation. Me, on the other hand, I am not asleep. This is my actual body. This is no dream apparition or whatever. I can just
I'm not an apparition either. I'm physically here, but I'm also physically there.
You know,
I'm no
I mean.
apparition either.
So I'm physically in both places.
Yeah,
That's my juggling thing to say.
Okay, so I don't have to be dreaming to basically jump between worlds and dimensions or whatever. So I'm just classified as a traveler. Though there was one point where I heard someone use the term world hopper, but honestly, that's from a whole other category of bullshit that I'm not even going to touch right now. But I'm basically I can just basically do this, and I'm just simply classified as a world hopper, traveler, trans-dimensional being. I don't know what the fuck you want to call me.
Outside of character, because we haven't worked on that story in way too long, Daniel.
No shit. Yeah, hey,
It's your turn.
don't remind me.
I'll remind you as many times as I need to.
I don't know.
How do her powers work? Do they come from her own, or are they connected to this other dimension and she uses the machine or whatever to travel places?
You know, we never actually specified that.
We have so many things
We
we need to
should.
specify. I really need to work on Crystalina Star's powers.
Yeah.
I can't do that in D&D. I can't do that through D&D. I need to do it
that's
through
fair.
us talking.
So
She needs to have some badass powers, and she needs to have some sort of... Because I don't want her to be, like, overpowered. But I also want her to be badass, you know?
yeah, no, that's
So there's
fair.
got to be some way we can balance that out.
Every D&D player ever. Well,
Yeah.
actually, no, that's not true. I've encountered D&D players who want to be the
But
main
also-
character and overwhelm everything.
Oh god,
Well,
yeah.
Because she is a dreamer and you can literally do anything in dreams, there is an overpowered aspect there. But
Yeah.
there's got to be some way to power it down, like maybe
She's
it only
not very
happens under...
creative.
I mean, that's
Well,
kind
no.
of that's kind of one of the reasons why I
me.
that's one of the reasons why I kind of knocked down Jason several pegs within book 2.
Right. So maybe she, like... I don't know, maybe when she's almost knocked out or whatever,
Yeah.
there's got to be some way where it's, like, barely accessible. It happens randomly and she can't control it, kind of thing.
Yeah, right. Anyway, back to the campaign.
Well,
So,
then,
yeah.
I suppose as long as I'm traveling with you, I'll learn more about each of you.
Yeah, and actually the weird thing is that, like, to be fair, I'm not the only one in my family that can do this. My brother can. Apparently, my nephews can too. That's been fucking terrifying.
Oh, and that what Frost just said is directed at the whole party.
Yeah.
Because he's the newest member and he knows bollocks about all of
that's
it.
right. Yeah.
We kind of went straight into this, and he wasn't really.
Yeah, he had no idea
this was-
what he.
Well,
no
this was
idea.
just another job to him.
Yeah, he didn't give much background on it. So.
Yeah. Dawn then just kind of turns to Crystalina and is like, okay, weird question. Because at the very least, this seems to be common for you. Did you get here by falling out of the fucking sky again?
Yeah, I kind of crashed into... Yeah. I crashed into the ground, forming a crater in the middle of these guys' camp, and it took them a while to trust me because of that.
Yeah.
I don't blame them.
Fair. That's fair. Okay, that being said, I'd love to talk with you guys more, but to be fair, I gotta find my nephew. Have you guys seen him? He's like a kid, like maybe like yay tall, human for the most part, kind of has bluish scales.
No.
His name.
Should we help you look for him? Is this something we should be worried about?
Well, I mean, he was here in the material plane before I got yeeted into the maze. Do people still use that?
I don't know. I hear it.
I've never used it in my life.
Never heard yeet before.
I don't know what that means.
Okay, we're gonna move away from that then. Seriously, the what about the rest of you? Kid, blue, like dragon-like scales. Likes
Angel,
to
what do you want to
surround
say?
himself with
Spit it out.
lightning.
Not that I can say.
Has like maybe a purple dragon familiar or something.
I am familiar with this person. That's okay. Just to make sure, the camera. Just to make sure that I'm not mistaking someone for someone else. This is the guy
Yes.
who was like the first, second, third claw Tiamat thing.
This was the kid that was assumed to be the blue claw of Tiamat. Yeah.
I remember
Well,
this
Is this
conversation.
not the same guy? Is this not the same guy that was Lucas's kid in the last campaign that was with us?
No, Lucas. No, Lucas was the one that was in the last campaign with the rest of you guys.
So where does... I thought he had a child, or... I'm so confused because I remember for sure being like, "Oh no, Jason's a grandpa now."
That was earlier in this campaign, girl.
Oh, wait. So we were with that kid then
Yeah,
in this.
yeah. No, you've all seen him.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I am
Sweet.
so lost.
Yeah, no, you all saw. Yeah,
All
no,
right.
you all, with the exception of Frost, because he's the newest recruit. You all met him. You all met him when you got reports of a hypothetical descendant of Tiamat was wreaking havoc, or at the very least causing trouble within Wyvernack territory. And then you all realize that it's just a little kid who supposedly wasn't from this world. And y'all decide to smuggle him out of Wyvernack territory, and you brought him to the Temple of the Sands.
Right.
So Rakion continues on and he says, I know exactly who you're talking about. We need to go back to we need to go back to the Sisters of the Flame.
Wait, you know?
Wait, but first,
Wait,
before anything, I need to make sure that you aren't going to bring any dragons into this.
I mean, okay, so a lot of things have been going on. Okay, why do you have a thing with dragons? You look part dragon, and actually, so does
Well,
he.
it's not about
Points to
dragons,
Frost.
it's about, Tiamat. No one wants to deal with Tiamat.
Oh, okay. So that's not going to be a problem. My thing isn't from Tiamat or Bahamut, actually, for that matter, but that's not the point. Ryukai is not associated with Tiamat either. Actually, ironically enough, he does get his powers from Bahamut, even though his stuff is, colored and not metallic. That it's very weird, I know, but just go with it. So yeah, no. Neither I, my nephew, or any of my family have any association with Tiamat. Actually, my brother did meet Bahamut once, supposedly.
Okay. Make sure. Okay, so I had a thing. Okay, so where are we currently, like, on the map? Like, what, like...
Okay, let me pull up a map, then. So, where the fuck is the map?
I'm the map.
No.
Oh my god.
Okay, so, if this actually loads...
No map. This is a very tasty looking map.
Yeah, it is very outdated. It is very outdated. So,
Oh, this is the first time I'm seeing it. All right.
yeah, it is heavily outdated because I am shit at making maps, and this was a first draft, and I never got a chance to make the second draft. Moving on. So the cave in which you're all at is kind of about here, where it is in between Temple of the Sands and what actually should be Kaliona. So, at the very least, you're a few days away from the Temple of the Sands itself, and are kind of like on the fringes of sister territory leading into Lion of the Sand territory, which at this point isn't much of a problem.
Yeah. Okay, so the reason why I'm asking, okay. Wow, I'm drawing a blank here.
He had it
okay.
and then he lost it.
Yeah, I know, right? Oh man, hang on. Okay. So he wants to talk to he sort of wants to go away from what's her face, Dawn, and go over to Yuri. He's gonna walk over to like I'm pretty sure like Dimitri and him were talking amongst themselves.
At the very least, holding on to each other and rejoicing as both of them are alive.
Yeah. He's gonna walk to them. He's gonna say, "Well, you completed your mission. Now I get to be the honored. I get to be honored to take you home back to your family. You need to see them, especially you." 8 points to Dimitri. So
I'll admit, it would be nice to meet my grandchildren and my daughter-in-law.
indeed. So here's how we're gonna do this. I'll drop this one off at the Sisters of the Flame and have Rogue watch over her as she sees her nephew. And if anybody else wants to come or if they want to stay there for right now, I will continue on with these two to take them home.
No complaints from me.
Same.
Don's just kind of like, yeah, no, fine with me.
I'm gonna make sure Rogue keeps a very, very close, watchful eye on you.
What the hell did I do?
Talking to Don.
Yeah, no, Don's just like, what the hell did I do?
No, it's about what you could do. You never know. And plus, I have a reputation to uphold with the sisters, and I don't want to jeopardize them. I don't know you. I did the same thing to Crystalina. Don't worry. Everybody gets it.
Wait,
I
repeat
knew
that again? I lost the context. What'd you do to Crystalina?
Start their whole friendship with not trusting her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, everybody get in the fuck in the court. Let me stop.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you all make your way into the cruiser. It is very fucking packed. Icarus, at the very least, is not in the car as he is riding on top of Nugget, like he always does.
Big B.
Which y'all didn't see those two when you were walking out, and the next thing you know, you see a giant metal horse making a wall into the cave off to the side. Icarus is just kind of walking behind and just shrugs. Then you see a Goliath head kind of point at, like look around, is like, well, I see all of you have returned and decided to. Wait, why are these two in here and you aren't?
Sorry?
Yeah.
No, you basically. The Goliath, which was the guardian of the guardian of the entrance, is poking his head out through a hole which Nugget and Icarus created, saying, why'd you all pop out at the front of the cave where these guys actually popped inside the cave?
They clipped through the wall.
It was a glitch.
Well, either way, I see that for the most part you all have returned from the trial.
For the most part, tap my body. I'm just kidding. Am I missing parts?
Give me an inspection check or investigation check.
I'm joking. He
So
doesn't
much.
actually
Yeah,
say that.
I am too. I am too.
Give me an inspection check.
My brain's not 100% working. Okay, you know what I mean.
No, it was funny. That's why I repeated it. Hang on. I'm just gonna roll it.
Oh my.
Inspection check.
Honestly, last time
I got a 15.
Oh.
I find I am missing a horn.
You pat yourself down. Seems like everything's there.
Carry on.
Yeah. So the Guardian then looks content that all of you made your way through, and then gives a sense of confusion. Is like, I'll admit that I wasn't in. That the fact that all of you returned does create a sort of curious situation. Which one of you is now the champion of Rhea at this point? Just all of you just kind of stand there with like a oh shit kind of moment, and Dawn just kind of leans over, is like, do you guys want to tell him or should I?
Hey, your god was manipulated, and that wasn't Rhea who was doing these trials. Now, if I would like to go into this, but this man has a family to see.
Of course. Wait, what? And at that point, you all just get in the car and drive the fuck off.
You know, hang on. Before I do drive off, I want to give him some monies just to tip him. Like, say, hey, thanks for checking. Thanks for looking out, bro. You know.
You just leave him a bag of however much gold you want to give him.
Give him like
He should-
gold. That's a lot.
Yeah,
of money,
you all drive off / Icarus galloping off. This Goliath is standing there with the gold in his hands, looking the most confused. And yeah, you just basically leave him like that and have no idea what happens to him after. So several days go by with your travels of you making your way to the Temple of the Sands. You all get out of the car. Dawn kind of takes a look and is like, holy shit, this place is kind of ruined.
I'm sorry. Did you say you wanted to me to leave you on the side of the road?
No, it's just... Honestly, I thought this place was... to be fair, I've bounced through a couple of eras accidentally, and this place wasn't as desolate. Or...
Whoa, spoilers.
Yeah, okay.
So he doesn't say that. He doesn't actually say that.
Yeah. And as soon as she says that, in a flash of light, or lightning, at the very least the sound of lightning, you see a blur of electrical energy just make its way over and just tackle Dawn with the most loudest, highest pitched screech you have ever heard any humanoid say. And as soon as everything dies down, you see Ryukai just holding on to Dawn in the most intense tackle hug you have ever seen.
Oh my god.
Crystalina just smiles.
Yeah, you see several people running down, one of which being Talia Bastion Davari, who just kind of runs and is like, holy shit, that kid was fast. Hi. Where the fuck have you guys been?
Oh boy, what a story.
Long story.
Short of hell, I guess.
Magic maze.
Right, yeah, no, I remember when you guys left. Holy fuck, you guys took your time.
How long have we been gone?
Oh god, here it comes.
6
Few
years.
months? No, like maybe a few months?
Actually, not that long.
Alright, how long did it feel like for you guys? How long did it feel like for
Well,
you
like-
guys?
Couple of weeks, maybe.
Yeah.
I was
The fuck? Alright, okay. That... She just kind of stops, kind of looks over to Yuri and Dimitri and is like... Oh, okay. Is this the guy?
That's him. That's my dad.
You're my dad.
Woogie woogie woogie. No. Okay. You see, Talia's just like, okay. Well, I was gonna say the kindred mother wanted to talk to you guys, but you know what? All things considered, that can wait. If she doesn't want to wait, well, that's too damn bad. These two can stay here at the very least until they decide to leave. Yeah, I guess y'all have. I guess y'all have to make a stop over at Baron's Rest. Do you want me to let them know you're coming, or?
That would be great. Yes.
Okay, yeah, I'll contact probably Mondari.
Oh shit.
What?
Oh no, that's me saying that.
Yeah.
No, I did want to say that he wants to ask, where's Rogue?
That's a good question.
She just poofs into fucking existence.
Yeah,
Rogue
no, she does
died
that. She
6 months ago.
no, thankfully not. No, I know she's around. She hasn't been on any other jobs since she came back. She just likes to just up and vanish.
I did.
Honestly, by the time you get to Baron's Rest, I wouldn't be surprised if you see her at the tavern.
Oh, so she's in Baron's Rest.
I don't know, she might be.
You just said that she was here.
Yeah, last I checked.
Oh my god.
How long have you been here and not checked?
Couple days maybe?
Okay.
Oh boy, he just said, okay, all right. Well, hey, Dimitri and Yuri, I think we have a journey ahead of us. Shall we? If anybody wants to come with us, they can. Have fun in the car. Big B still riding up front.
Dawn
Oh, yeah.
kind of gets up with Ryukai still just kind of holding on to her. Is like, yeah, with all due respect, I think I'm going to stay here, get in touch with Haven Arc, and probably get a lot of yelling from my brother.
We'll be back
He's-
soon. Or at least I will be. I don't know. Depends on if Yuri wants to stay with his family or not.
Well, yeah, I guess we could stay around for a little bit. I mean, just kind of looks and it's like, looks at Talia and it's like, you guys aren't going to accuse me of being a goddess again, are you? Talia's just like, you're asking the wrong side of the clan on that, but probably not. Dawn is just like, okay, well, at the very least, I'm gonna try and get a hold of my brother, see if we can get Ryukai back home. Yeah, and honestly, I can use I can use a nap. A nap sounds good right now for as long as I've been in that damn maze. And she just kind of starts walking off. Ryukai finally getting off her as she gets to like the halfway point, and the two of them kind of walk side by side to the temple. Talia's just like, thank gods that we don't have to take care of that kid anymore. He was great, but holy shit, that kid is fast. That kid zipped around the temple like several times over in a week.
I can't imagine.
Also, the lightning. The lightning was a thing. But anyway, you guys have a drive ahead of you. I'm gonna spread the word throughout the sisters at the very least that you guys are back. I can contact the Lions, maybe let them know that you're back. Seeing
No, that
as,
won't
you
be
know.
necessary.
Oh, okay. Still having issues with them? I thought that was taken care of.
No, it was. I mean, they don't need to know everything I do.
Yeah.
Alright, fair enough. I'll let you take care of that then. In the meantime, get these two to Baron's Rest, and... Well, I hope you all have a nice chance to finally take a break.
You as well. Alright, dads, you ready to go?
With that, you all get back into the cruiser once again, make your way to Baron's Rest with a few days more travel. You get back, and for the most part, it is basically exactly how you left it. Like, a lot of patchwork on the leftover buildings have kind of moved around for the most part. But it still feels, at the very least for Yuri, it still feels like home. It doesn't feel like it's changed too much, considering that you've basically been gone for not only a few months with being through the maze, but at the very least for what feels like an eternity trying to get to the maze among with everything else. You see the settlement itself is fairly quiet at this point. A lot of the business has kind of died down within the bazaar and whatnot. The one place that seems to be hopping at this point is the tavern, the Sandy Drider, which is not too uncommon of a sight for you. But at the very least, Yuri, you take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, you feel as if almost a weight has been lifted from your shoulders, as now in your life, you're free. The curse is, for what you can assume at this point, over. You brought your father home, and no other member of the Volkanovs are going to have to go through what you and your father and every other ancestor has gone through. Where do you first go?
Are we still just in the
As of right now, you're just kind of like more in the middle of the settlement, just kind of looking around at everything.
I'll ask my dad and be like, do you want to go see Doc Mandari? Do you want to go meet my family? What do you want to do?
Honestly, I can see Mandari when later. I bet the old coot is going to be very happy to see me nonetheless, but I think for now, it's time to just go home.
Yeah, Yuri takes Dimitri to his house.
You make your way across the sand and dust-ridden streets of Baron's Rest, and even calling them streets is not entirely the best descriptor of it, as it's a settlement and not a town.
Horatio will stay behind. He's gonna stay behind and let him and his father do that. He doesn't need to be there.
Yeah. For
Same.
for this particular Dusk, are you doing Duolingo?
What?
Hey, Dusk,
All right.
do you have Duolingo Plus?
Oh gosh.
Just a
Keep
simple
forgetting
yes
that
or
muted my
no.
mic. Yes, I do.
Okay, never mind then.
All right. So
I have two
in this,
spots and I'm trying to give them away on my family thing.
yeah. So at this particular point, we're going to primarily focus on Dimitri and Yuri. The rest of you can mute yourselves if you want to. I'm not going to say you have to, but if you want to, you can go ahead. So, Yuri, you and your father are walking along. Who the drops? Angel!
Bye.
Nah,
I said mute. I didn't say disconnect.
no. I went. I joked and never mind. Continue.
Okay, no, that's fine. So, Yuri, you make your way back to your house. The feeling of sort of success and finality continuing around you as you get closer to the house, sort of the one thing that kind of does go through your mind for the most part is the journey that kind of got you to the point at where would you feel your personal quest has finally been done. Starting with your father leaving you when you were a child. The amounts of research, of deniability that led you to trying to figure out the answers behind why this had been happening to your family. To meeting the person that would be your future wife, Natasha. Having conversations with her when you were first dating, your wedding, the debates, the arguments of trying to admit that you're not going to end up like the rest of your family, the various memories of your children. They all of the memories leading up to this point casually kind of brush through your mind, but not necessarily in a haunting way. As these memories go through your head, however brief, however in the back of your head, each time you remember them and each time they go, each time you remember and each one you go to the next, you feel a sense of content, of resolution. And finally, you and your father make your way to your front door. Whereas you yourself are most definitely nervous of what is about to happen. You can see that your father is by far more nervous than you are. As for him, it has been decades longer since he has last set foot into this house. Since he had last been able to have a chance to live and not survive.
He calls out, hello, is there anyone home?
You call out. You hear the sounds of footsteps thudding around on the floor. brief bouts of child exclaimment, followed by hushed whispers. The door opens. Natasha stands on the other side, looks over to you, and as soon as she recognizes you, the door opens a lot quicker to where you can see inside the house and see her. She goes, Yuri! Thank goodness you're alright. She immediately goes into an embrace, holding you tightly, kissing the side of your face.
I hold her as tight as I can.
I was worried about you.
I know. I'm sorry for worrying you, but I'm back, and that's all that matters. It's over. It's done.
She steps out of the embrace, her hand along the side of your face, looking in your eyes. What do you mean it's done?
Emotion's over. It's like I did what I set out to do. I found my dad. Actually, this is him.
She turns to Dimitri, not really registering him right off the get-go, which makes sense. You see Dimitri kind of gives a sort of polite nod and is like, hello, it's very nice to meet you. She looks to you and goes, you mean it's actually over?
It's done. No more maze. No more nights of stress. No more of it.
Then for Alexander, he...
Doesn't have to. He doesn't have to wonder where his father. Where are the kids? Where are they?
One sec. She turns around and in Primordial she goes, Alexander, Katerina, your father is here. And as soon as she says that, you see both of your children, for lack of better words, rumble down from across the home and immediately latch onto you, around you in exclamation. Natasha looks to you and is like, I wasn't entirely sure who was at the door. I'd sent them to their rooms just to be safe.
No, it's okay. I mean, he's just lost for words.
You hold on to your children in this instance, overjoyed because you get to see them again and know that they won't have to go through any of this. You see Alexander look up to you and go, you were gone for so long, Father.
I know. I'm sorry I was gone for so long. I had to find your grandfather.
With that, both Ekaterina and Alexander turn over to Dimitri as he goes, As he kind of kneels down and goes, "Hello, little ones. I'm your grandpa Dmitri. It's very nice to..." And before he could finish his sentence, they both move from you over to him in a tackle hug, taking him to the ground, laughing as they all exclaim in joy. And Natasha is also smiling and crying a little bit in this instance, watching the sight before her, and wiping her tears away. And it's like, sorry, it's just... We never thought that they would be able to see their grandfather like this. Yuri,
Yes.
why does he look a little younger than you?
Oh, well, you know, there is sort of a lot to unpack there, which is sort of code for I don't know. I have no idea. Some sort of there's a whole story, but you know what? Sort of one of those details you just sort of have to like gloss over and just be like, you know, it is what it is.
Right. Well, how about we have the two of you come in, and I'll be sure to make something for dinner, and then the two of you can tell us all about what happened.
Yes, that would be great. My goodness, the stories my father can tell.
With that, you, for one, help your father up, with Alexander at your side, Katerina in your father's arms. You all make your way inside your home. And as the last of you makes their way through the threshold, the door closes and the camera zooms out. And that is where we're going to end tonight's session. Holy shit.
All right.
Alright. Thank you all for playing. And thank whoever else exists for watching. Yeah, this officially concludes the Maze Runner story arc of the campaign. And now, as one story ends for our party, yet many more lie ahead. Not only for the backgrounds of a variety of our party members, but in the unveiling of a now coming war between the Arisen and the Prime and Primordial. What part will our party play in such an event? Or do they actually give a shit about it? We'll find out in the episodes to come, as we are not over yet. But with that, we will see you guys next week.
Bye, stream.
Have a good one.